hiphop.com.
Yeah, holy smokes, I'm no joke out the bullpen. Bringing nothing but heat, leave you hanging like clothespins. He's a beast when he goes in, ice cold frozen. The first round draft pick, #1 chosen. Drop bombs, explosion, self-promotion. And I keep shit moving like a flanker in motion. I'm the #1 spokesman, is my devotion. That I'm dedicated to the rhyme is my own notion. Brown water's the potion, it put hair on your chest. Or you can put one in the air and it'll put you to rest. Sweet dreams, I'm about to fade. I got my mind on my money and I'm dreaming about getting this all paid. Mr. Go-Getter, Mr. Assertive, Mr. Initiative, Mr. Results, man, I'm all about my business, kid. Damn.
Are we there? Are we live? All right. Sorry about that. Had a little loose wire there, but I am now live. Hopefully you guys can hear me in the chat. If you can't, please say that I'm muted. Welcome, everybody, to the Circa Million Show, Thursday, Thanksgiving edition. No Shark today, but I can't leave you guys hanging without giving out a few plays today on this beautiful Thursday, Turkey Day edition. Just want to say, everybody that's watching now, watching later, have been watching us grow as a channel here on the Sharky Waters Nation. We say thank you to you. I'm very thankful to the people. I'm thankful to the chat. I'm thankful to all the gun disciples that are out there following us along on this beautiful ride that is the football season. As we draw to a close here with the college football regular season into the conference championships and then the bowl season. And then we're going to be keep continuing hammering the NFL. We have ourselves kind of an all right slate, I guess. It's football, right? You have Dallas going against, you have Detroit going against Green Bay. Dallas playing divisional game versus Washington. And of course, you guys have Brand versus Seattle coming up on the late slate. But now I'm going to talk a little bit about the Egg Bowl as well. I'll throw that at the end. Well, let's just get into the plays. Let's dive in here on this beautiful Turkey Day. Let me just put the buy hat on today, as the turkey buy hat is engaged, baby. That's right. The buy hat is engaged. I'm getting into the mode. I'm getting into the Swami, a little bit of the turkey vibes on this one. The tryptophan is going to be kicking into my skull a little bit, but I'm going to be talking about this game as one of my top plays today. Green Bay going on the road to play Detroit, an aforementioned tale as old as time, tradition as old as tradition. Detroit playing early on Turkey Day, and relatively, you always have to deal with a very bad Detroit team, but not so fast, my friends. This is now a playoff contending team. As Conway in the chat says, happy Thanksgiving to you. Well, let's talk about this game here. You got Green Bay coming off a nice home win versus the Chargers, 23-20, +3 net yards, +1 turnover ratio, 4-6 straight up, 5-5 ATS this season. Now you have Detroit. They're on a 3-game win streak and off a comeback home win versus their divisional rival Chicago Bears, 31-26, +4 net yard average, -3 turnover ratio. You don't win ball games a lot with a -3 turnover ratio. They're 8-2 straight up and 7-3 ATS this season. Now you got to look at, let's just break it down by divisional opponents, how these two teams do. Detroit versus divisional opponents, +10 point differential, +88 net yard average, -1 turnover ratio. Green Bay on the other side this year, -3 point differential, -76 net yard average versus divisional opponents. Detroit versus divisional opponents, 7-1 ATS in the last 8 with an average margin of victory of 8.5 points per game, covering the game by +8.7 points per game. Green Bay on the other side versus divisional opponents, 4-5 ATS versus last 9 divisional opponents with an average of 1.6 average margin of victory, 1.6 points per game with a -0.7 points per game on covers. So they don't cover these spreads, obviously, with a 4-5 record. But Detroit, very hot against divisional opponents. These two teams did meet in week 4 at Green Bay. Detroit winning that game 34-20, 2.5 point road favorites. And now you're sitting here 5 points higher on this one at 7.5. I'm looking at the board right now. Actually, I'm seeing this thing steamed up to 8.5 now. My God. And I'm seeing 8s on the board as well. Still like it above here because I got it above a hook here. So the number that I got was 7.5. I got it earlier in the week. I did post it on the Slack channel earlier in the week, so hopefully people grabbed it. I see it's now steamed up to 8.5, so just go grab it now. This is a double-digit victory, in my opinion, versus the divisional opponent, Green Bay Packers, especially what happened last week. I think they carry that momentum on that great second half comeback to win the game here. Give me Detroit here, minus 7.5, 2-unit play for me. As I take the turkey off for that one. Woo! Gotta put the hat back on and talk about some other plays that are going to be on the board here because I want to talk about the total in this game because I like the total as well. Last time these two teams met, 34-20. The total was 45. That went over, right? Green Bay 6-4 to the under overall this season. Highest total they have seen all season is 45, and they saw it twice. 1-1 in those scenarios. Now you have Detroit 6-4 to the over. Highest total they've seen is 53 in week 1. That went under. But everything else has been relatively around in the 40s, obviously. Playing Kansas City, you can expect a high total in that one. Versus divisional opponents, Green Bay is 2-1 to the over. Detroit is 2-0 to the over. Green Bay is 3-2 to the over on the road, while Detroit is 3-2 to the over at home. This number sits at 47. When the number is between 46 and 47, Detroit is 3-1 to the over this season. Yes, for Detroit. Now, last 4 games, Detroit has given up 29 points per game, while Green Bay has given up 28 points per game in the last 4 games. So you see in this trend here hitting towards the over. Total points per game, we're talking about straight totals on this one versus divisions. Detroit averages 56 points per game in terms of totals in their games, and then Green Bay averages 49. So you have these very high totals with both of these two teams in scenarios that kind of fit into what this game is. You also have the short week. Short week hurts defenses. They don't hurt offenses. We keep continually saying this over and over again. And I'm looking at the total right now. The total sitting at 46.5, 47. So it's right on the number that I got it at last night. So I'm on the over on this one as well. Give me over 46.5 for the Green Bay Detroit 1-unit play. Just want to make sure I give a few shout outs to the chat. I have 4 plays in this game. I love this game so much. I have 4 plays, but I want to make sure I shout out everybody exactly in the chat. Happy eating day, baby. We're going to get fat. We're going to get belly food. Alex Burgo says happy Thanksgiving as well. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to everybody that's watching right now. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel and hit the thumbs up if you like the content that we're bringing, because we're absolutely cooking with the NFL. And of course, college is going to be coming up tomorrow, and I'll have a bunch of nice plays here, knowing that there's a lot of not only playoff implications, but also bowl eligibility implications that we love to hit on. So please join us tomorrow for that. I may even do an early show too, just to hit some of the Friday plays. Just make sure you guys aren't left alone here on a Friday, stranded, looking for stuff to bet on. Let's talk about the first half as well on this one, because I like Detroit in the first half as well. I got it at -4. I think there's -4.5s in there. I think that's fine as well, but I got the best number I possibly could. Detroit ranks 6th in first half scoring, 15.3 points per first half. They're also ranked 11th at first half opponent scoring at 10.2 points per game. So they play good defense in the first half, and they love to score. Look at Green Bay, very slow starters. First half offense scoring is 5.9 points per first half, and they're ranked 14th in opponent scoring at 11.8 in the first half. Then you have look at Detroit, 7-3 straight up with an average lead of 5.2 points per half, and 7-1 straight up versus NFC opponents with an average lead of 11.2 points per first half. So what you're seeing here is the Detroit team, when they play in the first half, they play very strong versus NFC opponents, and they don't play as strong versus AFC opponents. So there's kind of a little bit of yin and yang, night and day between those two teams. It's pretty remarkable. Because really the only leads that they didn't have in the first half this season were against AFC opponents. You look at Green Bay, 3-6 straight up, trailing at the half by an average of 6.5 points per half overall. 3-3 straight up, trailing by an average of 6.5 points overall versus NFC opponents. This is one of those situations too. I just think you got a slow starting team with Green Bay. You have a Detroit team that's fast and loose. They actually coming off that big comeback last game versus the Chicago Bears. I think that momentum kind of carries over here, especially with the short week. Detroit basically just loves to start fast when they're playing a Green Bay team that is not high scoring in the first half, kind of lingers and plays a little bit better in the second half. So I'm going to go with Detroit on this one. First half -4. That's a 2-unit play for me as well. So we got 5 units in the books on that. We're going to be taking Detroit -7.5, 2 units. We're going to be taking Green Bay, Detroit over 6.5. 46.5, 1 unit. And then we're going to take 2 units on the first half with Detroit -4. Also got a prop in that game. So I was like, maybe I should just give a prop. I know it's Thanksgiving. I don't normally give props. Sometimes I do in primetime games. If I see an opportunity, I see another opportunity here. Now, if you remember, I gave you the under receiving yards with Jamar Chase last Thursday in the Baltimore-Cincinnati game, and that went way under. I mean, granted, the quarterback injury kind of helped with that one, but still, we hit the under in that one. And I'm going to be looking at an over here, and I'm looking at rushing yards when I look at this team. David Montgomery is back in that lineup, and he's been absolutely electric for this Detroit offense. Been a lightning bolt for them. The over on his rushing yards is 69.5. I got it at 69.5 yesterday at FanDuel. 1 unit play I'm going to be putting on this one. Give me the over 69.5 rushing yards. Let me tell you why. Look at the rushing stats for Montgomery. I'm going to break this down. Granted, he's missed 3 games. So in the games that he has played, he's put up 74, 67, 121, 109, 14, 116, 76. That is an average of 82.4 yards per game. And the 121, guess who he put that up against? The Green Bay Packers. All right, Green Bay's defense can't stop the run. They're ranked 24th in opponent yards per carry, and they're ranked 28th in opponent rushing yards per game, giving up 134.7 yards per game rushing to their opponents. So you have a bad rushing defense. You have a good running back in Montgomery that is red hot, that is playing absolutely electric, 82.4 yards per game. You're getting this total at 69.5. I know Jamar Gibbs gets his touches too, but I think if Montgomery gets hot, they're not going to take the ball away from him. It's going to be it'd be like I don't know, 2.5 to 1 carries from Montgomery to Jamar Gibbs, in my opinion. I think they get it done. I think the over is easy on this one. Give me the over 69.5 rushing yards, 1 unit play for me with David Montgomery. If you guys in the chat want to hit up here, go, and bang, bang. Respect, safe, and good health to all. Good betting as well. Thank you, JR Black. Give you the horn for that one. Hey, Slater, Jordan. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Enjoy your food, enjoy your family, and enjoy your football. This is the best holiday in the world. I think there's a changeover right around maybe 12 or 13, or maybe it doesn't hit you till you're an adult. But Thanksgiving is the best holiday. Granted, March Madness weekend, first weekend, is pretty electric as well. But Thanksgiving just rules, man. It's just, you're sitting at home, you're eating food all day long, having some bevies, just watching football, one after another, and, maybe a little basketball along the way. I know college basketball is still out there, but, man, it is just a great day just to be alive. And then you got to back it up on Friday when college football rivalry week starts, and it's awesome. It's just great. Let's go with this game right here. Washington versus Dallas. This game does kick off at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I hope that Creed does a halftime show. They should. I think it's a perfect time to bring Creed back. I'm just going to say this out loud because Texas Rangers just won the World Series. Texas Rangers is kind of linear as far as the Arlington fan base market is. You got to bring back Creed to go play in that stadium and give an electric show again. When you take me higher. That's what I want to hear. That's all I want to hear on my halftime show. That would make my damn holiday right there. Here we go. Is dedicated to us with this live. Goddamn right. I can't leave you guys without the plays that pay the bills, and I'm going to do it right now. Let's talk about this game, though, Dallas versus Washington. It's not a great game. Not a great game on the slates. But you have a Dallas team that's 1-12 on Thanksgiving ATS. This doesn't feel like it's going to be this feels like it's going to be 2-12 ATS after this game. I'm not officially taking the side on this one because I think the side is forever past me at this point. I think it opened at 7.5. It's already steamed up to looks like 13.5 right now. If anything, you're buying back on Washington at some point. If that thing hits 14, I think it's a good spot to maybe just take a little flyer on Washington. But look how Dallas does versus subpar teams this season. They've just been absolutely crushing them. At the Giants, 40-0 as 3-point favorites. The New York Jets, 30-10 as 8-point favorites. Arizona did lose that game, 28-16 as 11-point favorites. You have New England beat them 38-3 as 6-point favorites. The Rams 43-20 as 7-point favorites. The Giants 49-17 as 17.5-point favorites. And Carolina beating them in what was supposed to be the flattest of all flat spots, crushed them 33-10 as 11-point favorites. So what you have is 5-1 ATS versus subpar teams this season with an average margin of victory 26 points per game. Granted, a lot of those came off losses. Like I think the Patriots one came off a loss because that was after the Arizona game. The Rams one definitely came after a loss. The Giants one definitely came after the loss. The Carolina one didn't come off the loss because that came right off the back-to-back with after the Giants 49-17 victory. But this team just shows you they're similar to Miami in a lot of ways, that they go and they play bad teams and beat them badly. This may be one of those situations for the Washington Commanders, as you know, Washington Commanders don't play a lot of defense. And then you look at the matchup: Dallas home team, Dallas Washington. Every time they match up, 5-1 straight up in ATS, the home team covers, and the under is 4-1 in the last 5 matchups. But the number is sitting here at 47-45, 47.5, 48. This is the highest total Washington has seen all year. The highest total before that was 45, and that went over. Hit the number 60. Was the final total in that game. Then you have the highest total that Dallas has faced is 49.5 versus the LA Chargers, but that was on Monday Night Football, primetime game, primetime unders. That total only hit 37, but there was multiple times where there could have been a lot more scoring in that game. So that total was probably on point, but you know, prime times definitely have the primetime flu when it comes to totals for overs. Dallas on this one, 3-1 to the over at home. Washington 3-3 over and under on the road this season, basically even. But you look at the first half average. So I break this down in the first half because I wanted to see. I saw big scoring from both sides of the spectrum when I looked at the first half. Average totals for Dallas this season in the first half when they play their opponents: 29, Washington 24. Then you have first half average at home for Dallas, 32 points per half. And I'm not talking about just Dallas scoring. I'm talking about the total here. Then you got to look at Washington games on the road. The totals have been averaging 44 points per half. I'm sorry, 24 points per half. So what you have here is you have a total here at 23.5, 24. You have a Dallas team that's playing at home. You know how Dallas does versus bad teams at home. Absolutely demolishes them. Absolutely crushes them. Absolutely boat races them early. But I think both teams have the ability to score with one another. As it is a divisional game, I don't think the defense is going to really apply here. I think if there's going to be scoring in this one, it's going to be in the first half, and we should be honing in on that one. So I like the first half over on this one. 24 is the number that I got, and I think that's an accurate number there. It's just over the 50% line of what the total is right now. I've seen it sitting at 47.5. It was a steamed up number, though. I believe it opened at 44, 45, 44.5, and 45. So I think this is a good number to be taken on this one. Let's just split this in half. Let's take the over 24.5. First half, 1.5 unit play. And then let's sip bourbon and wait for the night game. All right. Make sure you guys get into the chat. Let's talk it up, man. This is Thursday. I want to say happy Thanksgiving to you all. I want to make sure I shout all you guys out that has been following along from the damn beginning, whether it be my college basketball content, whether it be the Shark and the Gun stuff, whether it be anything, and NBA payday, anything the Sharks do. And this is what this channel is for. This guys are for you. This is what we do. We do it for you for the low price of $0. And if anything you can do for my Thanksgiving is just hit this thumbs up button on this video. That's it. All right, let's talk about the next game on the board here as we get down the slate. We're going to go San Francisco and Seattle. This game probably, this is a really, really questionable game in my opinion. Really tough to go and cap this one this early until we see maybe who's going to be playing where, especially in the quarterback position for the Seattle Seahawks. We have San Fran just rolling right now. Ever since their bye week, ever since they got healthy, they beat Jacksonville 34-3. Then they go and they back that up with a win at home versus Tampa 27-14. Getting Trent Williams and getting Debo Samuel back in that lineup was the biggest factor in this one, and they're back to that team that was like, hey, you know what? San Francisco is the best team in the NFL currently. I guess that's debatable, but you can see if there's certain key components of that offense missing, they drop off heavily. And I think Debo's the biggest factor in that one. And I mean, Williams on those run screens, that big bastard, you ain't getting through him either. All right. Looking at Seattle coming off that loss versus the Rams last week, 17-16, which is right with the history of that matchup. Granted, the Rams just own the Seahawks overall. There's certain teams that just own the other team, no matter what year, what version of the team, what coaches. Seattle just falls to the Rams, and sure enough, they fall to the Rams once again. 0-2 straight up versus the Rams this season, once again. Then you got Seattle. 3x revenge in this one because they played 3 times last season in 2022, not covering the spread in all 3. 9.5-point dogs twice, and those were both in Santa Clara. And they were 3-point dogs at home. Lost that one as well. I think they lost by a possession in that one. But you've seen the line here. Basically, similar situation than last year. Seattle at home. And they were 3-point dogs. Now they're 7.5, 7-point dogs on this one. And I think a lot of that has to do with the question mark on Geno Smith, the elbow injury that he hurt himself last week versus the Rams. It is a short week, so recovery time probably not even there. Everything that I'm reading, it sounds like he's on the precipice of playing in this game. So he's at least going to try to give it a go. But that elbow injury to me, I don't know about it. I don't know how. I mean, that's going to affect his throwing. It's gonna be in his head. It's more of a mental thing than it is a physical thing on this one. I know Drew Lock's the next man standing. If it does come to Drew Lock, I think that's a problem for Seattle because against the San Francisco defense, against the San Francisco offense, they're going to really struggle getting points from this team without Geno in the lineup. I try to look at the total as well. The Seattle 3-0 to the under versus divisional opponents, while San Francisco's 2-0 to the over. Then you have against each other. Under is hit 3 out of the last 4. The total is hit here at 43, which is right where it was last year. Is right at 43 in Seattle. So same total indication on this one. That one under. San Francisco, third lowest total they've seen all season. When the number's been that low, they are 2-1 to the under. The only one that did not hit the under for San Francisco was the 35.5 versus Cleveland, and that hit 36. But there's a lot of stuff that happened in that game that could have made that total way under. That total was looking under the whole time and did kick over the mark with a last-second field goal with the Cleveland Browns. But then you can look at Seattle, third lowest total as well, but they are 2-1 to the over when the total is 44 and below. So I don't really know what to do with this game at all. I did want to lean towards the under on this one, just on the fact that there's so many question marks on the Seattle side. I don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring coming from them. Whereas San Francisco, I don't think San Francisco's train has stopped yet. I just think it's a divisional game. They want to get up for it. They've been playing exceptionally well inside the division. They'll want to play their best ball here now. I thought the flat spot might have been last week, but when I saw that line at 13.5, I passed on it. Just thinking it should have been a shorter line if it was a flat spot for San Francisco. I don't think this is a flat spot for them, knowing that the line was 3 last year and now it's 7. Feels a little bit sharp to me because of the Geno Smith injury. So I don't know if I'm going to be playing this one at all, to be honest with you, but just check Twitter. I may find a lean here on the under and make it official at a unit. But it's nothing that I really want to play personally on this card. All right. Now that we've hit all the NFL games, I want to get into the chat. I'm going to be talking about the Egg Bowl here in a second, so stick around for that. Let's go. Smitty in the chat says, let's go. And of course, we got the candy man. You can't have Thanksgiving without some candied yams. Oh, that was a bad joke. Oh, that sucked. Happy Thanksgiving, Guns. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Bob. I'll give you the horn for that one. I should have put a turkey noise on my soundboard. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Smitty. And Scott Nag, he says, I went over on this one. I think he said over on. Oh, I don't know which game you're talking about there, Scott. I hope if it's a Dallas game, then I would have to agree with you. If it's a Detroit game, I would agree with you. I don't know about the San Fran and Seattle game, but good luck with your bet if you did take the over in that one. But let's talk a little Egg Bowl. All right, you know about the Egg Bowl, right? One of the tale as old as time, rivalries as old as rivalries. It's Ole Miss versus Mississippi State. I think this rivalry may have started in 1920s or something like that. And I think they call it the Egg Bowls because the trophy they made was the shape of an egg. That's it. Wow, what a story. If anyone has a better story than that, I think I was reading that on Wiki earlier because I had no idea why they called it an Egg Bowl. I didn't know it was an egg state, Mississippi, but it looks like it just had to do with the shape of the trophy and nothing else. But I want to make sure I get the lines right on this one, so I'm going to pull up the board. It looks like the line right now sitting here. Ole Miss is favored here on the road, -10. Over and under here is sitting at 54. Looking at this matchup, basically, it used to be very easy for me to pick this one. It's like you just take the road team. Typically, they're a dog, and you would cash your ticket. If you actually look at the history of this matchup, going back to looks like 2016, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like 8-0 straight up and against the spread. The road team is in this matchup every single year, like clockwork. That's who covers, not just wins, but covers. If we're talking straight up wins on this one, you're looking at 6-2 in the last 8. So, looking at this matchup, there's a lot of outliers in this one for Mississippi State, right? Mississippi State, of course, fired the coach. Arnett, he is gone. So they're going to be going with the interim coach on this one. Interim coach stepped in last week, got a nice win versus Southern Miss. They also got Will Rogers back in the lineup, which is going to help them as well. They did win that game 41-20. So, granted, Southern Miss is not the biggest, strongest powerhouse in the country. But they lost 3 straight prior to that. They lost to Auburn 27-13, 24-3 to Kentucky at home, and then they lost to A&M 51-10, absolutely getting demolished in that game, which I think resulted in the firing of maybe they got the firing right after the Arkansas game. I can't remember when that firing happened. Somebody in the chat could probably tell me. But no Zach Arnett. Will Rogers probably going to be playing in this game. I haven't checked his health history just to make sure that is confirmed. But you've got a Mississippi State here that's just absolutely playing their best ball this year more than anything. I mean, their only losses this year were to Georgia, who is a college football playoff contender and the favorite to win the college football playoff, 52-17, losing that game, minus 259 net yards. That was in Georgia. And then they lost to Alabama 24-10, a team that just owns them historically. Lane Kiffin just can't get right versus his old mentor and Nick Saban. So it's one of those things that you have a Mississippi team. Other than that, has buried their competition. I mean, for the most part, they have played some close games. Arkansas, Texas A&M. But I don't think Mississippi State is one of those teams that is going to keep this one close. It's just a weird line to me. 10 on this one. Why isn't it 17? Why isn't it 24? Is it because it's a rivalry? Because I look at this game here and I'm seeing, just doing the math here. So we're looking at 14. I guess the number is pretty much at 11. If you're looking at the total stats here, if you're talking about the last 4 games, how these two teams have played, you're looking at virtually identical on that one too. You're probably looking at an 11-point spread. So why I probably lean towards the Mississippi side is just because of how the road teams have done versus the home teams on this one. But I think Mississippi State may be playing with a little bit more motivation for an interim coach. There's a different element in this game to go out there and beat their rival, even though they did win the game last season 24-22 as 2-point dogs. Maybe there's an element of a revenge there too. What's keeping me off this game? I may try to look for the split on this one, and maybe something that I post later. I need to dissect this one a little bit more. I was looking at the under as well on this one, as the under is hitting 6 straight in this rivalry. And you see the number here sitting at 54, but the totals for this one when it hit under was 59.5, 64.5, 69.5, 58, 61, 65, and 60, 65.5, 69. So a lot of these are in the 60s or the high 50s when these totals have hit the under. Now you're seeing it hit this low, almost another possession below what the spreads have been in the past. So typically, I like to go over on that when I see stuff like that, right? I don't know if I'm there yet. I need to do a little bit more research. I need to look at these teams and dissect them a little bit more. I would say right now, as it stands right now, you're probably looking at an Ole Miss over, but I'm not going to make it official on this one. I'm going to dissect this a little bit more. See if I can find an angle somewhere around the board. Maybe a first half angle, maybe a split. But I gotta dissect this rivalry a little bit more. What kept me off of it early today was just I need to know, one, is Will Rogers really going to be playing this game? Two, what I got to read into what people think about the interim coach for Mississippi State. Do they love him? Do they hate him? And then Ole Miss, are they going to be really motivated to play in this game as well? Granted, it is a rivalry game. They typically are motivated to play their in-state rival. However, it's not a big game, right? It's not as big as the games it's been in the past. So nothing I really want to play on this one. Going back to the chat, but that's my assessment on it. I may have a pick later. If I do, I will post on Twitter before kickoff. Let's go back here to the chat. Case Slater saying, will Green Bay score enough, or are we counting on Detroit to be racking up the points? I think Green Bay has the capability of scoring on Detroit. I mean, they do. I mean, you saw it last week versus the Bears. The Bears were able to put up 26 points on them. So you can score on them, especially on that turf. I think it's going to be fast paced. It's going to be high scoring. I think Detroit, if you're going to be playing tit for tat with Detroit, you're going to lose that battle every single time. I think they're going to be able to get the ball. They're going to be able to have a 3-and-out situation with Green Bay. I think Green Bay can put up points in here, especially on the road. Green Bay on the road is very much very much a different story than they are at home. Home, they're not really a high scoring team. I told you their totals versus division right now, total 49-56 with Detroit when they play. And then you have Green Bay giving up 28 points per game. And then you have Detroit giving up 29 points per game in their last 4. So, yes, I think there'll be a lot of scoring in this one. It'll be faster than you think it is. And then you have a short week. You don't have a lot of time to prepare for this one. It's more of a detriment to the defense than it is the offense. Going to this one, Bob the Candyman says, shit, 49ers win by double digits. I don't know. I have a feeling that we may be seeing Drew Lock sometime in the first quarter with that elbow. I just don't think it's going to last here. If they say he's going to play, how long is Geno Smith really going to play? And if it is Drew Lock, man, look for some pick sixes. Look for some turnovers. Smitty says, like Texas Tech and Texas A&M, 2-team teaser in college basketball. Yeah, I haven't looked at the board yet. I'm going to look at that after the show. I want to make sure I get the football content done first, and then I was going to work on college basketball. Listen, I went 6-2 yesterday in college basketball, so maybe I'm starting to heat up a little bit in that. Clint says, do you think Mississippi State comes out with a new offensive scheme and Ole Miss won't be expecting? I don't know how you do that. Because if you're going to switch the entire scheme up and scrap the playbook in 1 week, there's no preparation for that as far as an offense is going. There's going to be, if they do that, that's mistake central. I don't think they're going to change anything in the offense. Maybe they mix up the play calling a little bit different than what Mississippi's used to seeing. It's an interesting little dynamic there. I mean, Will Rogers may be motivated. I think Mississippi State has a motivation in there somehow, even though granted they are 1-2. They are playing for their bowl contention. That's an element that we have to look at as well. But are they really going to be excited to be going into a bowl game with an interim coach? I don't know. It's a tough one, especially when you're a double-digit dog versus a good Mississippi team. It's going to be tough. I don't know. I may know later though. Who knows? If I could find the angle, but right now, I ain't playing it. Yeah, JR Black goes. Any ideas on college basketball today? Yes, I'm gonna be. If I do have some college basketball looks, I'm gonna take a look at the board real quick, see if I can find something. If not, maybe taking a day off on this one. Yesterday went 6-2, so I don't want to. I kind of want to keep the hot streak going, but I want to make sure I pick the right games to do it. Did I say Fields? No, I was talking about. I was doing a comparison with not. I was doing a comparison with Fields and whatever. I was doing a Bears and a Green Bay comparison on this one. So I said the Bears did score a lot of points. They typically do not score a lot of points at home. They do on the road. Green Bay has a similar element there with Jordan Love. They will score some points on the road because they have to. That's what I was trying to get at with that take. And then we got Bob the Candyman on this one. Love to throw the INTs today. Yes, sir. Give him a horn on that one. But yeah, Texas A&M. I guess that one starts in 21 minutes. Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, that's gonna do it for the show. Just want to make sure shout out to everybody in the chat. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Just to recap for anybody that missed the plays on this one, I'll post them on Twitter as well. We're going with Detroit -7.5, 2 unit. We're gonna go with Green Bay, Detroit over 46.5, 1 unit. We're gonna go with Detroit -4 first half, 2 unit. And we're gonna give a prop here. David Montgomery over 69.5 rushing yards for another unit. That's the biggest game I love on the board today. Also, we're going to add Dallas, Washington over first half, 24, 1.5 units. Nothing on the San Francisco, Seattle side. Maybe have something later. Who knows? You got to look at the quarterback situation first. And of course, the Egg Bowl, no play on that one as well. But I'll make sure you say happy Thanksgiving to everybody, to all your family and yours, everybody that supported us from the get-go. We're going to continue grinding, giving out plays, giving out winners, giving out content, giving out the energy every single week. So please like and subscribe to this channel and hit the notification button so you know every time we go live. Because I may do a little pop-up show before the Knowledge for College show to give you some Friday plays for the college football slate that is going to be kicking off tomorrow. I do have a few plays in my pocket. I don't know how I'm going to present them, but I may be doing a morning show tomorrow just so you guys have those plays before kickoff. But that's going to do it here for the Circa Million Show, Thursday, Thanksgiving edition. Make sure hopefully you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Cash your tickets, dominate the board, and as always, let's keep dancing. Bang!